Trump demands social media platforms turn over their lists of political dissidents. And then to go along with that, I've got this story I put up on don'tspeaknews.com this morning. Lockdown rounded up and warehoused, the rise of America's concentration camps. And then I also put this up yesterday about the spiritual war and the occult regime in Ukraine, how Ukraine's elites rule through dark magic. And we'll just get into it like we always do. So Trump is demanding social media platforms turn over lists of political dissidents to him, or anybody in his administration who asks. So the two-party system has all but shredded the First Amendment, which protects the rights, or it's supposed to, of Americans to speak out against their government without fear of censorship or political retribution, like it says right here. There's the amendment itself. Now, remember how Trump prattled on about the evils of the Biden administration censoring Americans' online activity and how he was going to restore free speech? Yeah, he said he's going to make the internet free again, and conservatives will be able to express their views and opinions without fear of being censored or even shadow banned like they were under Biden. Well, that's all BS, and I knew it then. But that seems like a distant memory. While X and Meta have marginally eased their censorship of conservative voices, the administration is taking a note from the Biden playbook and pressuring them to crack down on those who speak out against Trump policies. So we're going to scroll down here a little bit and go to this TechCrunch report where it talks about this. Actually, I'll scroll up a little bit more to this paragraph here. The government are particularly eager to know about folks who share information online about ICE immigration raids in their local neighborhoods. These subpoenas have also been used to demand information about people who have criticized Trump officials or protested any government policy. That would include people voicing disappointment over the administration's recent turn on gun control. With Trump, FBI Director Kash Patel, Attorney General Pam Bondi, and several of his people voicing support for tighter control of Americans' right to carry in certain public spaces. Yeah, we even had Jeanine Pirro, Fox News shouty show person. They all like to shout on their Fox News shows, and now they're all in Trump's administration. Unreal. Anyway, below is an excerpt from the TechCrunch report. Unlike judicial subpoenas, which are approved by a judge after seeing enough evidence of a crime to authorize a search or seizure of someone's things, administrative subpoenas are issued by federal agencies, allowing investigators to seek a wealth of information about individuals from tech and phone companies without a judge's oversight. While administrative subpoenas cannot be used to obtain the contents of a person's emails, online searches, or location data, yeah, they can buy that from data brokers actually. They can demand information specifically about the user, such as what time a user logs in, from where, using which device, and revealing the email addresses and other identifiable information about who opened an online account. But because administrative subpoenas are not backed by a judge's authority or a court order, it's largely up to a company whether to give up or give over any data to the requesting government agency. But they do it all the time. Even though if they stood up to it, they wouldn't have to, but they get threatened and then they just cave. So administrative subpoenas are not new. The use of these self-signed demands by Trump officials to seek identifiable information about people who are critical of the president's policies has raised alarm. Do you think? Do you think? I mean, come on, man. I'll let you read the rest on your own, but I think you get the idea. If you disagree with them in any way, shape, or form about any of their policies or things they talk about, or if you insult Kash Patel's girlfriend in any way, shape, or form, you'll get sued for $5 million. I've seen that now on YouTube today. So they're using lawfare and suing people to basically bankrupt them and then seize all of their accounts, their digital accounts. It's ridiculous. Their computers, everything gets seized because of these lawsuits. So that's what they're doing. And they go along with that, we've got this. Lockdown rounded up and warehoused, the rise of America's concentration camps. I put this up this morning on don'tspeaknews.com by John and Nisha Whitehead, and they posted it on Global Research, and they sent it to me and asked me to repost it, which I did. No doubt concentration camps were a means and a menace used to keep order. That was Albert Speer speaking at the Nuremberg trials. Indeed, they are. And now they're being used here in America to intimidate everybody into silence. And back in 2021, amid a global pandemic, warnings that the federal government might repurpose warehouses into detention facilities on American soil were dismissed as speculative, alarmist, even conspiratorial. 5 years later, what was speculation is a blueprint for locking up whomever the government chooses to target. According to investigative reports, the Department of Homeland Security and Immigration and Customs Enforcement are actively purchasing warehouses, factories, and industrial buildings across the country for use as detention centers, often with little public notice, minimal oversight, and virtually no accountability. This is no longer a warning, it's a five-alarm fire. With the Trump administration moving forward with plans to rapidly acquire warehouses for what could become a nationwide mass detention network, it's no longer a question of whether the government will expand mass detention to lock up Americans for defying its mandates, but when. Indeed, it's just a matter of when. And I think that's coming very, very soon. This is how it begins. The government already has the means, the muscle, and the motivation. It spent decades building a vast archipelago of prisons, detention centers, and emergency facilities capable of imprisoning large numbers of people. Yeah, let's not forget the FEMA camps that are already in operation. They've already got guards at them. It's just a matter of filling them up with people. Right now, almost 70,000 people that we know about anyway are currently being held by ICE with $45 billion burning a hole in its budget. The Department of Homeland Security is spending big on its concentration camps in order to hold more people for longer periods with fewer constraints. While the Trump administration insists that it's only targeting the worst of the worst, murderers, rapists, gang members, pedophiles, and terrorists, most of those being rounded up have no criminal record. I've shown you that before too. Being undocumented is a civil violation, not a crime. This is where we have to tread cautiously because authoritarian regimes love to play Orwellian word games, and the current administration is no exception. Case in point, DHS Secretary Kristi Noem claims that every single individual arrested or detained has committed a crime. But being charged or even suspected of a crime is very different than being convicted of a crime. This is where the word plays come in. When the Secretary of Homeland Security equates an arrest with a crime, she isn't just playing word games. She's effectively nullifying the 5th and 14th Amendments guarantee of due process and the presumption of innocence. If the bar for being arrested is merely committing a crime, we'd all be locked up. It may come to that eventually. I believe it will, especially for those who are considered anti-Semitic or worshiping idols. The no-hide laws are going to come into play as well. Given the overcriminalization of the American Legal Code, which contains over 5,000 federal criminal statutes and hundreds of thousands of regulations, the translation is this: every single American unknowingly commits at least 3 crimes a day. At least. And we don't even know it because of all these crazy regulations. Hundreds of thousands of them. Every American can be rendered a criminal at the government's whim. And if they don't have any of that, well, they can just, I don't know, throw some classified information on your computer like they did to that CBS reporter about 10, 12 years ago. Luckily, she was able to afford some serious people, computer forensics people, to find the stuff that they put on her computer so she wouldn't get in trouble for it. But the point is, they can do that too. So given the overcriminalization of the American Legal Code, which we've already covered, it's just a matter of time before you actually do commit a crime. So when you have a government that's in the business of rounding people up in order to fill warehouses and play to the optics of being tough on crime, it won't just be undocumented immigrants getting rounded up. Of course not. In The Origins of Totalitarianism, political theorist Hannah Arendt warned that concentration camps were not built primarily for criminals. They were built to imprison the innocent, people rendered criminal by the state simply for who they were or for what they believed. And that's exactly what we see going on today. This is the Fourth Reich now, coming into full view. They're not hiding it anymore. These camps functioned as laboratories for total domination, where guilt was irrelevant and innocence offered no protection. Individuals were stripped of rights, reduced to categories, and rendered expendable. That's the danger we're facing now. Rightlessness in an age of rights. When detention quotas replace due process, when people are locked up, not for what they've done, but for who the government decides they are, the machinery of authoritarianism is already in motion. Reports of ICE smashing car windows and grabbing people off the streets and detaining American citizens despite proof of their legal status, real ID didn't help, offer a preview of what lies ahead. We're not supposed to live in a papers, please society, and yet under Trump's leadership, America is rapidly becoming one. And he's doing a lot more than Biden ever thought about doing. And that's how they always do it, right? You expect gun control from the Democrats, and yet you get it from the Republicans, like Trump banning the bump stocks in his last term, and then Reagan back in 1986 in the National Firearms Act. That was under Ronald Reagan, another one of your folk heroes. He was just a better actor than the rest of them. Anyway, history has a name for what happens when governments abandon due process and begin people locking up for who they are rather than what they've done. The next step is always logistical. Once a decision is made to detain people en masse, the state must find places to hold them, out of sight, out of reach, and outside of the law. This is where the warehouses come in. Make no mistake, these are concentration camps in their earliest form, rebranded and revived for a new age. I'll let you read the rest on your own. I'm trying to keep these a little shorter if I can. I highly recommend you read all of it. I'll put the link up like I always do on the website here at don'tspeaknews.com. In fact, it's one of the first stories we'll come to. Now, last segment, I'm going to keep this short too. But I put this up yesterday because it's important. This is the real war. This is the spiritual war that's it's manifesting physically in our world right now. The occult regime, how Ukraine's elites rule through dark magic. In this picture, you see the scrying mirrors. You got the candles. And also, in the bigger version of this picture, there's voodoo dolls and other things too. But I've been speaking about the spiritual war being the primary concern of Christians since I began podcasting in 2011. And today I have more proof of it here in regard to Ukraine. I found this post on Telegram on a news channel called Geopolitics Prime. I also found a story about Marina Ambrovovich and how she's been asked to serve as the Ukrainian ambassador. In fact, they asked her back in 2023. If you don't remember who she is, she's the witch who teaches celebrities how to do spirit cooking rituals and spoke about how Donald Trump is a high-ranking mage, and that article is right here. And you can see the spirit cooking stuff right here. Remember, this war is spiritual first and foremost, just as Ephesians 6 says. These people are monsters, and they're hardcore believers in what they practice, and they practice their rituals daily. The sad part is that many Christians don't even crock their Bibles daily. And you can't fight a spiritual war without your spiritual sword, which is the Word of God. And here's their chief witch. She calls herself Silent Maria. She's on YouTube. We also have this guy. I'm not sure exactly which one this is. It looks like it's this guy here, Orenchko Bodan. He's also a YouTube blogger. And then Zelensky is convinced that this sorcerer that he consults with is the hand of God. And so, yeah, just all kinds of magic and rituals going on. Here's the full picture that was up on top of the post here. And you can see all the different scrying mirrors that he has. You know, your phone and your computer screen you could call black mirrors too. But there's the voodoo dolls and other different occult things that they use for rituals. And there you go. Spiritual war is very real, guys. They believe in it. Here's their head witch, the chief witch in Ukraine, who works quite closely with the Ukraine intel services, as well as Zelensky regime. And so, guys, if it's going on in Ukraine, you can bet your bottom dollar it's going on here and pretty much every other country in the world too. These people are all linked together through their master Lucifer. They may call them different names, but they all end up in the same place. And there you go. That will be it for now. And of course, don'tspeaknews.com is home base for all that we do, which is where we're at right now. And I put a lot of stories here that don't get spoken about enough or that we can't speak about at all, you know, on any other social media platform. Which is why I started the website back in, 2019 now, I believe it was. Wow. It's been a while. And of course, Don't Speak News has been going since early 2017. And up to 2016, it was the Johnny Storm Show. So I've been around a while, 15 years in total as of this July. Hard to believe. It's just absolutely flown by. But anyway, it's an honor to serve, and I'm very grateful I've been able to serve in this capacity for all these years, and very grateful to all of you who listen, who pray, and who support this channel and share things, of course. It's very important. So you have a role to play too, and you've played it very well. Those of you who stuck by me all this time. And there's many others who haven't, but that's the way it goes. Sometimes people are in your lives for seasons and for certain reasons, and then they're gone. That's just the way it goes. But stories like this, and like this, and many more like it are here on the website, don'tspeaknews.com. Now, if you want to find us on Rumble, BitChute, Telegram, just click on this tab right here, and all the places to find us around the internet are right there. To support us, and we are definitely in need of support, you can click on channel support right here. We're listener supported only. There's no ads. There's no pop-ups on this channel. Unless you want to subscribe, there's one pop-up per article. That's it. And so don'tspeaknews.com needs your support. If God has laid it on your heart and you want to contribute, please prayerfully consider donating to this ministry. If you cannot gift a monetary donation, then please donate your fervent prayers to keep us going. Thank you, and may God bless you always. And so always appreciate that. Without you guys, who wouldn't be here. And if you want to subscribe or contact me, you can click on this tab. And then if you want to subscribe, there's a box like this at the bottom of every article. Type in your email, click on subscribe, and you'll be in. And Don't Speak News at Proton Mail is how you get in touch with me. And that will be it for now. God bless, take care. Johnny Storm, Don't Speak News.